Hey, what's up everyone? I am SwampKid84. Thanks for tuning into another episode. Now, originally I planned for this to just focus on battling today, as I'm trying to push towards 4750, which is a threshold that I've never been at. I've been as high as 4672, but some news just came, and I wanted to at least talk about that first before getting into some live battles, because we're definitely going to do that here. But I did want to share this because there's been obviously the new hybrids that have been teased for a little while. They already released the components for the first one, and which, you know, those are down here. The first two actually, Edmontosaurus and Iguanodon, making a new epic, and then another epic created from Ornithomimus and Proceratosaurus. So those are going to be coming soon, I guess, in the next patch, in the 1.6 update, which I'm guessing is probably going to be at the end of this season sometime. I don't think they would just kind of throw it right in the middle of the season. That wouldn't really make sense, because I'm sure they're going to introduce some other things in the update besides just new dinosaurs, and it's probably best to wait till the end of the season. But they have a couple more now that they've released, which is a mix of, actually both of these are legendaries, so Hedzegopteryx and Darwinopterus will make one legendary bird. And then you've got Kulisukis and a new common that apparently is coming out, Scolosaurus, making the one that, you know, a lot of people kind of speculated was going to involve Kulisukis in this one, or one of the salamander types. So there you have it. As far as Darwinopterus, it was an epic. It was an epic that I really feel is, you know, good kind of on its own, but it's kind of in the same line as Brachiosaurus in that, how are you going to get the DNA to actually get it to team level? Meanwhile, I have a lot of Kulisukis that I've had since I first started playing the game. Ornithomimus is going to be way more abundant out there in the wild than some other, you know, type of dinos. So making this dino is going to be a little easier from that standpoint. But then again, Proceratosaurus is, you know, incubator only and not in the wild. So maybe they'll change that, but for right now, it's only, you know, it's event exclusive, I believe. So that hybrid may be a little tough to create. Now, Edmontosaurus and Iguanodon, that one should be fairly easy. I think a lot of people have at least darted it enough to get it to level 10, possibly even 15, whatever it is. I think it would be level 10 though for this particular epic, in terms of the DNA requirement. Hedzegopteryx, they had a lot of those when they were kind of force feeding us the birds in the very beginning, if you remember that. He was everywhere, very common. And Scolosaurus would be interesting to see that new dino. But that's it for that, guys. Good luck making those new hybrids, as I'm sure everyone will be excited to do. The first two that were released were epic, so, you know, this new announcement with the legendaries is exciting. And then you never know, actually, let me go back, because, you know, it mentions in here, because this is MetaHub, by the way. Yeah, I believe the epics are probably going to be released shortly after that, I would think. You know, just like they kind of structured it, 2 epics, and then now they've released 2 legendaries. I believe they're going to follow that format and release 2 epics after that. So, and I believe Demodactylus will be involved in one of those uniques, which is good for me, because I actually have a ton of Demodactylus DNA. In fact, I have it at level 21 right now. I went the extra mile and leveled it probably one level I shouldn't have, because I think this unique obviously is going to be, you know, the requirement is going to be level 20. So I've got it one higher level, but as you can see, I still have a ton of DNA as I'm getting close to level 22 with this dino. I actually have been using this dino in my lineup, and it's been pretty good. So as you can see, this is my team now, and it's gotten pretty strong. There was some that I was really close to for a while, and I was really hoping I'd get enough DNA for him, and I definitely did. I got lucky with a 50 fusion for Dilorotris, and now I have that dino to level 23. Arguably my strongest dino, maybe level 20. My 24 Indoraptor is in that conversation. I was actually able to get Thor to level 23 also. Got that a little while ago though, maybe a couple weeks ago. with Monolophosaurus on special event, I got Monostegatops to level 21. Again, super stoked about that. And just today, I got enough coin to upgrade Trago to level 23. So my team is looking pretty strong right now, and I think I'm definitely strong enough to push to where I want to be. So without further ado, let's do it, guys. Let's try to climb our way up. I had one battle recently that kind of opened my eyes to swapping out, you know, even if it's a little bit early. I think I've been afraid to do that a lot. I don't swap out, like, I guess swapping out manually, I guess I've called it before, but, you know, just not like on a dead turn or anything, or like with a hit and run tactic, but just straight up swapping out. I don't do that very often, but the previous battle before this, it kind of made me realize that I do need to do that from time to time. Let me just shrink this box a little bit. It's not a bad matchup for me here. I'm going to go with Lethal Wound. But yeah, because towards the end of the match, both of us were putting in fresh dinos at the same time after a death, and I put in Stegodius. The other person put in Trago, and I didn't put in Thor, and I definitely should have. Let's see. You know, I think I'm still going to be alive after this. Possibly. No. Forgot about the stun. But at least I had the lethal wound on the other person, so they're going to need to make a tough decision of their own here. Well, I'm done, but Monostegatops should also be done. You know, I'm just going to swap out to Trago, and hopefully my opponent is doing something basic like, okay, it was a good good decision on my opponent's part there. Although I've got the 1-0 lead, my Trago has definitely taken a big hit there. But I felt like it would be beneficial to take out Spinotosuchus, because when you have dinos that are that speed, like 129, they can make another appearance for you. I'm thinking my opponent might do Distract, so I'm going to go ahead and do Superiority Strike. I think my opponent was just trying to do as much damage as they could, but this is going to give me the speed, and I'll be able to stun here and then do Rampage, hopefully. Hopefully I'll get the stun. Diloranosaurus I used up until maybe a month and a half ago, something along those lines. At this stage it's just not, you know, it's not quite as good. Once I got Diloratoris, it was kind of, you know, no reason to... Oh, that was enough to take me down with the crit. Once I got Diloratoris, pretty much Diloranosaurus was obsolete, because the extra speed that Diloratoris has, even though their movesets are very similar, you know, it's the speed makes a huge difference. Plus Diloratoris has the Rampage and Run, which is really deadly. So barely not enough. Now see, I have to maintain the speed edge, so I'm going to go Superiority Strike. I'm not sure. See, I should have known whether or not my opponent would have been able to get taken out by my basic strike. So that allowed me to get hit an extra time that I maybe couldn't have if I would have put in another dino, but I don't think Spinotosuchus would have been able to finish either. I think Spinotosuchus does like 1,000 damage, so. But I would have been able to at least do critical impact, so bringing in Diloratoris there may not have been the best thing to do. But luckily I've got one of the best moves in the game available to me right now, the Greater Stunning Rampage. He's history. See you later, Megalosuchus. And I'll be able to do Rampage and Run into Thor, which isn't bad at all. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So much damage. So here comes Thor. Hopefully my opponent... I've got 2 speedy dinos on deck, but my opponent's going to take me out here. Yeah, here comes the Rampage. I didn't have the stun. Now, my opponent may very well have Drac Gen 2. But you know... This is going to be interesting here if my opponent has Drac Gen 2 or... And it looks like not. So, I got the win there. That was an interesting one. But I am back in the aviary, plus 32 there, not bad. I was going to do one more. Hey, what's up guys? I took a little bit of a break to think about that last battle before I jump into this one and kind of give some final thoughts about it. It was definitely a flaw on my part to, you know, to bring in Dilaraturus without thinking about whether or not I had enough damage to take out his dino. Because when I brought in Dilaraturus, all that was available to me was 2 basic strikes. And the damage from those moves was not going to be able to take out the other opponent's health. I forget what it was. I think it was Diloranosaurus or something. It was a dino that had very little health. I should have brought in Spinotussuchus, maybe, back in that situation, because Spinotussuchus also would have had the speed edge, but with the critical impact, it would have been able to take out that dino without, you know, being hit for any damage. Whereas Dilaraturus got a chunk taken out of it because I wasn't able to finish off the dino. So really, you know, you can't at this level you can't have slip ups. So you really have to think about things that you've done wrong, right? Later in the match, I made a good move. You know, maintaining the speed edge with superiority strike. Sometimes people can just willy-nilly throw out a distracting strike there. I'm talking about when I had Dilaraturus at one point in that battle. I think I was facing a Diloranosaurus, but I did superiority strike as opposed to distracting strike because it allowed me to maintain the speed edge. So that was a good move on my part. Wasn't all bad, but maybe could have won that battle a little bit more comfortably. Kind of all bets are off, though, when people have Drac Gen 2. If you bring in a dino like Spinotussuchus that basically has no health, that could have been a good time for the other person to just finish off Spinotussuchus with, you know, with a Drac Gen 2 strike. Good that I got the crit there because this isn't particularly a good matchup, but it may allow me to kill Spinotussuchus and then actually get Monostegatops out before it dies from the damage over time. Okay, I thought maybe my opponent would swap out, but they decided not to. I'm going to survive this DOT, yeah. So I could potentially swap out. I could see my opponent obviously is going to bring in something. Okay. Don't have a good tank, unfortunately. You know what? I'm still going to do it, though. I'm going to bring in Indoraptor. Maybe it's not the best decision. It's not like Monostegatops is a good late-game dino. So, I don't know. Maybe wasn't the greatest move. My opponent is going to have the stun also available. That's only 1 times damage. You know, I'm gonna do evasive stance and kind of take my chances. I kind of went out on a limb here doing what I did. Oh, perfect! Wow, I dodged the impact. I can just do cleansing, but my opponent can stun. But I'm gonna go ahead and do cleansing impact. My opponent. Okay. Oh, I guess they're going with the critical impact. Oh. You know, with Rampage only having a cooldown of 1. Well, here comes the stun anyways. Yeah, I'll just do the basic strike, yeah. Here comes the stun. Wow. Oh, man. This is a done deal. You know, I had a match like this where I was on the other end of it earlier today, and the other person just had evasive stance and dodged literally everything I threw at it, and I lost 3-0. So this is pretty much a done deal here. I'm not going to swap out again. Wow, I survived the distracting rampage. I didn't think that was going to happen. Oh, hoping I'd get the crit and maybe make up for it. But as you can see, I just did the same amount of damage that I would have done with a basic strike. So, not too shabby. I guess I can do evasive stance again and take my chances. Worked out for me okay the last time. Okay. I'm kind of glad I didn't, you know, get the benefit of that. I think right now is a good time to put in Dilaraturus. If my opponent has Distract available again, I'd be able to cleanse it anyways, but this should be a done deal here anyways. Now right now to finish in situations where you're finishing off the opponent, I think Distracting Strike is definitely the way to go, because there's not a lot of swap in slow dinos that I encounter in the arena. So really, you know, the best thing to do is just to do Distract when you're kind of feasting on a dino that has low health. So I'm going to go ahead with Stunning Rampage. Got the stun, alright. This is going to do some major damage, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish. Yeah, 41. Now the problem here is if I do Rampage and Run, I would be swapping out into Monostegatops, which is about to die. And I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do Superiority Strike. See, that's huge that my opponent was barely able to survive that Rampage and Run. I'm hoping that I can stay alive here myself after my opponent goes through the typical Trago moveset. Doesn't look like it, because my opponent actually has... Yeah, and I'm still slowed. Good thing is I do have a full health Thor waiting in the wings. So I'm not going to do anything drastic and throw in Thor to get beat up. I'm just going to go ahead and save him here. I was going to say, if my opponent decides to swap, that's not a good idea at all. So this is a done deal. Ooh, and the crit just for good measure. Thor is a pretty good late game dino. I noticed that, you know, a lot of opponents will save their tanks for the end of battles. So saving Thor for the end of a battle isn't really that bad of a thing to do. Because it can definitely take care of tanks maybe better than really any dino in the entire game. Even ones that are able to... A lot of the better tanks like Trago and Stegodius, and really all of the, you know, the Brachiosaurus types, Nototitan, they're all able to steal speed and really control the speed game. But what makes Thor so good is that it doesn't even really matter if you lose the speed. In a way, you're kind of immune to the speed reduction just because you've got the instant charge on turn 2, and that'll, you know, that'll trump anything in terms of speed. Doesn't really matter. The only thing is you'll be slowed, so after the stun your opponent would go first, but you know, in Trago's case they'd be going first anyways. But anyways guys, that's all I've got for today. Definitely, you know, kind of hit me when I saw the news there about the hybrid, so I just wanted to share that with you guys, the 2 new legendaries that they put out today, that MetaHub put out today. So thanks to MetaHub for that information, guys. That's gonna do it for me today. Just wanted to show a couple battles and make this a somewhat quick episode, but I'm up to 4567. The journey to 4750 continues, guys. See you tomorrow. Take it easy.